Okay, believe it or not, we are ready for the fourth video, just a day after releasing the third. In the last video, we essentially completed our scanner with the handling, implementing the handling of reserved keywords. And so uh, that is over here where we go through our table of keywords, and if we encounter any of them, we will add the matching token of one of these and class else, false, for, and so on. And that essentially completes our implementation of the scanner. Real quick, shout out to Via Condias in the comments. They made a great point here about the keywords table being a const instead of a var. That is previously what I had over here is, excuse me, this was a var, and they made the point that this can be a const, which I had totally forgotten about. And I assume he also made just the great point here that you should prefer to use let and const wherever possible. And totally agree. I have background in functional programming, purely functional programming languages like Haskell, and then less pure or impure functional programming languages like Scala, where everything's a val, everything's immutable. And obviously that comes with all the benefits that offers in terms of making it easier to apply equational reasoning and reason about your program generally. So that's something we'll keep in mind to use let and const wherever possible. And yeah, in our case, because we know that we are not modifying the keywords because it's a fixed set of reserved words, it can in fact be a const. So shout out to Via Condias for pointing that out. He had a funny comment here. The people developing, well, funny but true, the people developing compilers are trolls, elves, and other fairy tale creatures. Yes, they are that good. So if you use a variable that never changes, I feel safe to say that the compiler will turn it into a constant for optimization. I even believe the compiler will sometimes remove a variable if the math that is used to change it is faster to do over and over again than the lookup for the variable in memory. CPUs, prediction, L1, L2, L3 cache, ALUs, and compilers are so advanced today that I can't even wrap my head around it, but for some reason I still try to write my code as optimally as possible. So in your specific use case with the table here, I would use const to tell my future self that this table does not change, but I would not expect any optimization to come from it. Yeah, it's really, really insane what is done in compilers, the compiler optimizations that are possible and that have been implemented in newer languages is really incredible. So that was an interesting note. And again, thanks for the comment there, pointing out that I should use const. So jumping back into the book, looked ahead just a little bit and saw that there is a little challenge here, which I thought could be interesting, which is this: add support for LOX's scanner for C-style block comments. All right, so these are comments. You can have multi-line comments. Starts with a / and a star or an asterisk, and then you have your comment, and then it's terminated with an asterisk and another /. Make sure to handle new lines in them. Consider allowing them to nest. Is adding support for nesting more work than you expected? Why? So we'll see if we can get to the nesting. But just to be clear on what he's talking about here, he wants to be able to do the following, right? This is a block comment, right? This is what he'd like to be able to do. And then the additional challenge is to enable the possibility of having a nested comment that is inside of the comment block and that it's treated correctly. Okay, so that's what we're going to try to implement. And I think we already have the treatment of single line comments. And that is in fact right over here, right? So when we encounter a forward slash, we go ahead and we see if the next one is that. And we continue to advance until a new line or we reach the end. So I think we can just add this functionality here so that we can handle the multi-line C-style block comments. And I think what we're going to want to do is we are going to want to do something pretty similar. I think we're going to create a little helper function to actually carry out the full handling of the comment block. But we can start first. We know that it's a sub case of beginning with a forward slash. So the single line comment is going to be the forward slash followed by another. And then our case is going to be if we have an asterisk, if we have an asterisk or a star, right, then what we're going to want to do is, I think, create a helper function, and we will we'll call this handle comment block. Okay, and go ahead and implement that up above over here. So this is going to be our func, and as always, this operates on our scanner. And I want to keep this as simple and straightforward as possible. I'm sure, we could look at this as kind of an algorithmic exercise and try to get real fancy. But for the purposes of the video, and truly always, I just want to get, it's motivating to just get something working. So I think one really simple thing we could do here is we can loop through the scanner as long as we're not at the end, right? So keep looping through. And then if we peak, right, and we get, right, so at this point, because of where we're calling this from, right, inside of our scan token proc below, so we've already encountered the opening of the comment block. So really all we're trying to do now is find the termination of the block, of the comment block. Otherwise, if we don't find it, then I think we have to raise an error, right? And one thing to confirm in C-style comment blocks, let me just go to the browser here. In C, we'll open up like an online just compiler, and we'll check. See, I've done this before. So we are going to check if it is the case that you can terminate it on two separate lines. In other words, can you have the opening of a block comment, this is my comment, and I know that the normal case will be this, right? That is the opening and then the closing of your comment, and this will run, everything's good. Now, I believe what it will not allow is having a new line between the asterisk and the forward slash, right? Like that needs to, unterminated comment. So you'll get an error there. So you cannot, in fact, do that. Now, is the same thing the case on the way in? Also a problem. Okay. So they've got to be on the same line. They've got to be directly adjacent to each other with no new line character in between them. So that's good to know, and that is what we will implement as well. And so at this point, when we call this handle comment block, we're looking for the termination of it. And then if we don't find it, we want an error, right? So what we're doing here is we're going to loop through. And if we find the asterisk and we have peek next we can use, right? We can look at the next character. And if that is the /, then we can, at this point, simply break from our loop, okay? And one thing we want to keep in mind from the book is he said, make sure to handle new lines in them. Make sure to handle new lines, right? Make sure to handle new lines, okay? So, right. So I think we can just do that right here, right? So if we encounter the end, then we break. But regardless, what we are going to do in this while loop is until we get to the termination, we are going to advance. Okay. And then just before that, we want to check if we got a new line. If we got the new line, then we want to increment the line as we've done before. Plus equals 1. And right, otherwise we advance. And now we are outside of the while loop. So let's say that we looped all the way through to the end and we didn't what happened? Right. So we get to the end. If that is the case, then we're going to call our error function. And we're going to pass in the current line. And we're going to say unterminated comment. And finally, otherwise, right, we are going to advance twice to handle the terminating, right? So let's check that that logic makes sense. Okay, resuming the recording. I was interrupted by my 3-year-old daughter. So we wanted to check if this logic makes sense. Just a quick kind of eyeball review of this. So we are calling this once we've already determined that we are in the comment block, right? So we encountered a /, we encountered the asterisk, and so what we want to now do is handle the comment block. And the logic is advance through. If we encounter an asterisk followed by a /, then we're going to break, and any new lines that are encountered will increment the line number. Then we will advance, right? While we're not at the end, advance. And if we do get to the end, right, we are going to, right, meaning we never got here, so we need to error out and report the error of an unterminated comment. Otherwise, we are going to advance twice. Now, we can quickly check that this is correct. And as you can see here, we have, excuse me, we have to change this to a proc, because this can have side effects. So that should have been a proc. And now we can go ahead and run this. And let's check. So this is a comment block. Now what should happen if this works correctly is everything just gets ignored and we reach the end of file. Boom. And that's what we have, right? We don't recognize this as any other identifier or other token type. Everything else still works as it should. And we have that as an identifier. So we are good to go there. Now, what would be interesting to figure out was the extra challenge that he offered, which was the ability to handle nesting comments, right? So again, what that means is that he would like to be able to handle the following, right? So outer comment and then start another one, inner comment, terminate the inner comment, and then finally terminate the outer comment, right? And you can see that does not work as expected, as we would want it to. And why would it? We haven't implemented this yet, right? So what happens here is that it encounters a there's a star, a slash. The whole thing is just not handled correctly here. So I think what we can do is use some very simple recursion here, right? Because we know that, in other words, all that's happened is that we've encountered the beginning of a comment block inside of a comment block. And the way to handle a comment block is our proc handle comment block. So I think what we can do is we can handle this case of a new comment block opening up in the middle by, so before we look for the terminating, which is this case here, right? We are simply going to look for the case of if we encounter a new opening of a comment block, right? Which means peak is slash and peak next is an asterisk, right? Then in that case, same as we do for below, we are going to just advance, and then we need to now find, excuse me, we called it handle comment block, right? And we're going to have to pass in the scanner. I realize we've been a little inconsistent here. We could also do this. Probably would be more consistent with what we've done. Not sure why I prefer the other way right now. Somehow it feels like when you're calling it recursively that you want to pass in, you want to use that style. But it is kind of inconsistent. Like right here, we're doing advance. We're not, we've kind of been using the object method syntax the whole time. So I guess I'll take that back and say that this should be that. And now let's see if this will build. And it does. So now we want outer comment and then start an inner comment, end it, and then end the outer comment. Perfect. That's good, right? And then we still have, there we go. Right, the comment has terminated successfully. We can then have all of our other tokens. This could be else. This could be a print. This could be class. And will this work infinitely so? Let's try another one. So we'll open up yet a third comment. Boom, that works. All right, everything is ignored and we're good to go. So that is it for handling the comments. I think we are good with that. And let's take a look back in what he's done here. All right, now he's continuing on into the onto the next topic. To dwellers in a wood, almost every species of tree has its voice as well as its feature. I guess this would be a good stopping point. This will be a short video, and you know, we've implemented just C-style comment blocks. As always, let me know if you have any thoughts or comments. Appreciate you all following along. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you all in the next video. One more thing that I forgot to check here is we want to check our handling of an unterminated comment, right? So that means that we open up a comment and then we have some comment and we don't terminate it. Great. Yeah, we get the error unterminated comment. And then I think we also want to check the case of we have some comment and then we try terminating it with we have a star, but then we have a new line and then the slash, right? And we want to confirm that we actually need to have the terminating star followed by a slash right next to each other on the same line with no new line in between. So good, that is still treated as an unterminated comment in a way that, from what I can tell, is consistent with how it's done in C-style comment blocks. So just wanted to add that. I realized when I stopped the recording that I hadn't done that. See you all in the next one.